Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, we'll be covering experiment number 10 himself, Wolverine Weapon X, the unblockable, unstoppable, and regenerating mutant monster. We will be breaking down all his abilities and the best ways to defeat him. Wolverine's abilities are an absolute wall of text, but the most important thing to note are his rage charges. He gains one of these each time he is struck, one of his abilities fails to trigger due to chance, or if you purify a debuff. He will also gain 2 if he misses or is evaded, and will then go unstoppable for 1 second. This makes using champions like Ghost or Mr. Fantastic very tricky. These charges are unaffected by ability accuracy, so we can't use that to our advantage. Once he reaches 25 charges, he enters Berserk Rage and gains a whole list of effects. These include going unstoppable for 4 seconds on entering his rage, fighting extremely aggressively, his base attack doubles, he gains a 150% non-stacking fury when struck, will gain a regeneration passive when struck, healing 100% of the damage taken over 5 seconds, he is fully stun immune, and finally he is fully and passively unblockable. Whilst Wolverine Weapon X is Berserk and not unstoppable, the rage charges fall off, and will fall off faster the longer he has been Berserk for. There is no other way to remove these charges. Once Wolverine's rage has ended, he instantly loses all its effects, and cannot gain charges for another 20 seconds. A few things to note. When struck and not in rage, Wolverine Weapon X has a 50% chance to regenerate 40% of the damage taken over 5 seconds. Wolverine Weapon X's regeneration rate cannot be modified except by poisons. This means that we can't use petrifies to deal with his regens. No limiting, no reversal. In addition to this, all attacks have a 50% chance to bleed you, and this increases to 100% if he has 10 or more rage stacks. If Wolverine Weapon X has any rage stacks, and he charges a heavy, he will go unstoppable for 1.5 seconds, though this does have a 10-second cooldown. If he actually hits you with a heavy, he will refresh any bleed effects currently on you, and if he has fewer than 10 rage charges, he will double those rage charges. Finally, any bleeds applied to him are 50% weaker, so they aren't a great damage option. Taking a quick look at Wolverine Weapon X's special attacks, all specials instantly give him 5 raid charges on activation, and if he then has 15 or more charges, he will instantly go into his Berserk phase. So special at 10 charges, and you expect him to go Berserk. The special 1 gains an attack boost while Wolverine is Berserk, and has a guaranteed bleed on it. If this attack doesn't hit you, Wolverine Weapon X will gain an additional 5 rage charges. The special 2 will pause the rage fall off for 1 second per hit, if thrown when Wolverine Weapon X is Berserk, and if he isn't, it'll gain a 50% attack boost instead. And finally the special 3 will set Wolverine Weapon X's rage charges to 25 if they're below that, and he will instantly go Berserk. This one also has a guaranteed bleed. But as always, special 3s are best avoided. And if you're finding this video helpful, please stick a bleed and a regen on that like button. Wolverine Weapon X's signature ability reduces the cooldown after a rage has finished by between 2 and 7 seconds, so that's from 18 to 13 seconds total, and will also let him heal at the start of the fight based on the rage charges he finished the previous fight with. This second one is not hugely important if you get him down first time, but something to note. The most important thing to note about fighting Wolverine Weapon X is that he has 3 unofficial phases. Before he goes Berserk, whilst he's Berserk, and afterwards when the charges are on cooldown. The first phase, before he goes Berserk, really won't last very long. The most likely scenario is that you will do 10 to 15 hits, he will special 1, and that's it, he's already in rage, and this can happen within the first 10 seconds of the fight. There really isn't much we can do about this. There is no way to stop him from gaining charges, and there's no way to remove them once he already has them. This leaves us with 2 options, as he will be going Berserk. We either fight him in the Berserk mode, or we try and let him fall off. As a reminder, when he goes berserk, he will also gain that unstoppable for 4 seconds, so you have to watch out for this when it triggers. The problem with dealing with just the berserk mode is that Wolverine Weapon X will be fully unblockable the entire time, and will go unstoppable if he charges his heavy. We do have one counter though that can bypass the majority of these issues. Lady Deathstrike. On her second medium, she will heal block the opponent, so no regen, and mutant champions cannot gain unblockable or unstoppable effects whilst this is active. Simply heal block him and push him into rage mode, and you should have no issues, no unstoppables, no unblockables. In his berserk mode, Wolverine Weapon X will gain a regen passive healing 100% of the damage you deal to him, but this is only the hit damage, so that's white damage and yellow damage. This means that any sources of red damage, he won't heal. This includes all damage over time effects, so your bleeds, poisons, shocks, and so on, and any sources of burst damage, such as Tigra's Special Burst, Gallon's Harvest, Red Hulk's Extra Burst, and so on. We can also remove the regen passive with champions like Nimrod in his orange stance, and other heal block champions with similar effects will also work. A final solution is to use a champion with some serious burst damage. It takes Wolverine Weapon X 5 seconds for him to heal back all the damage you deal to him. So if you can end the fight in less than 5 seconds from 100% health, problem solved. This really depends on the range of your champions though, and how big the Wolverine Weapon X is. You need to know the range you have to work with. Doing this to a 6-star rank 2 or 3 in Battlegrounds will be significantly easier than to a very big Wolverine, such as the one in 7.1.4. Our other option is to let the rage fall off, but this is easier said than done. He will play hyper-aggressively in his rage, and will almost always be dashing at you. If you don't hit him to limit the charge gain, then he will corner you very, very quickly. Slow combos will let you eventually run down those rage charges. His aggression does make intercepting him much easier, so use this to your advantage. Once the rage has fallen off, you have 20 seconds where he really can't do much. Use this time to get in as much damage as possible. After that, you are back to phase 1, and he'll be gaining his charges again. Any champion can do this rotation, but watch out for the unblockable and unstoppable. So, Wolverine Weapon X gains rage charges when struck, and more on specials. With enough charges, he will go berserk and gain a whole list of benefits. Once his berserk phase finishes, he has to wait 20 seconds before he can gain any more charges, but this can be as low as 13 at max sig. Lady Deathstrike is our best counter, as she can completely shut him down with good heal blocking champions as other options. Either play in his berserk phase and deal with the regen, or let that phase fall off and do as much damage as you can in the recharge phase. I hope this helps you against your future Weapon X's, and do let me know how your fights are going now. I'm currently working on 6.3.3 to continue the Act 6 run through, and I will put up another poll so you can vote on the next champion you would like to see, as we'll be looking at skill champions. I also have a Discord server where myself and many others will offer advice about pretty much everything. Thank you, and I will see you next time.